Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching The Breakfast Show live on Nile TV International. It's now time for our main topic of discussion for today, and we're going to be talking about blended learning, which is an approach at which we integrate or blend different educational tools to have a fully integrated educational system. And to shed more light on this topic, we're most delighted to be joined here in the studio by Dr. Saad, and he's the academic coordinator for the Center for Languages and Translation, Cairo University. A very good morning, Dr. Saad, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Karim.
Well, Dr. Saad, first of all, if you can tell us what is the blended learning?
Actually, blended learning is a type of learning that combines both face-to-face and traditional and online learning. So it has this organic unity or integration of two types of learning.
Yes. So, and what are the main characteristics of blended learning?
As you know, blended learning is meant to be available anytime, anywhere. So the accessibility for using this kind of learning allows us to use it at any time, anytime, anywhere. And at the same time, it's very cheap because it's not that expensive.
And developing the platforms and so on at which the students can interact with the teachers and so on and so forth, this is not costly, it's cost efficient?
Yeah, the infrastructure is very expensive at first, but later on it's not that expensive because you just pay once just for the infrastructure.
Yes.
But later on, yes, of course it will cost you a lot of money whenever you construct the website, the server, and the platform itself. But later on, it's cheap.
Yes. To what extent have we started implementing the blended learning approach here in Egypt?
Actually, we have many attempts that have been applied to introduce this kind of learning. And as far as I remember, we have started to use it since 2005, and a lot of research has been done to do this. But practically speaking, we have started the online learning when the National Egyptian University for e-learning has started. It was in 2006, which is a Gam'a ELU. So this is the first university in Egypt that uses this kind of online learning.
Yes. What also we'd like to know, what are the main challenges facing the blended learning?
Unfortunately, we have many challenges, and that's why we need to find some solutions for this. Number one, we have the technical challenges. Do we have the infrastructure that could absorb all these challenges? I think that now we are on our way to have this kind of learning. So technical challenges. Number two, I'm so sorry to say, the professional challenges. Do teachers or professors receive the adequate training? This is a question mark. Because we need to have two types of learning, two types of training. We need to have previous or pre-service training and during service training. So these are the two main challenges.
Yes.
You know that within 1 week, inshallah, we'll start the new academic year. But how many teachers or university teachers have started to have this kind of training? Of course, there are many attempts. To mention but few, we have we're going to use the Microsoft Team. So this is one platform that we're going to use. But is it available? Can it absorb all those universities, private and national? So we have some challenges, technical and professional.
Yes. Also we'd like to know from the global practices or the global experiences in the field of blended learning, and how can we learn from these success stories?
Yeah, of course we have many experiences. You know that the rationale for this online learning or blended learning is that we need to have face-to-face and online. In some countries, they divide the class into two types or into two main portions. Number one, face-to-face, and you can devote 1 hour for this face-to-face interaction, and 2 hours for online learning. This is one international experience. But for Arab countries, allow me to say that they have started a new technique, which is TV channels. And instead of using the internet and the problems of the internet, they have introduced TV channels. And I feel that this is very practical,
Yes.
At least for the time being.
Also, Dr. Said, we would like to know what are the main prospects for blended or hybrid learning?
Of course, we have many prospects. I feel that this kind of learning is not going to be a choice; it will be a must. So we have to be ready for this. How could we use it? I'm sure that Dr. Tari and even Dr. Khalid, they have started to use some technicalities. Number one, to introduce this online learning as part of the curriculum itself or the academic process. So instead of having just face-to-face classes, we can merge the two types of learning, and later on we can have these two parallel programs at the same time.
Yes, so it's not something like temporary due to the COVID-19 and the challenges related to...
It's a must, it's a must. And as I told you, since 2006, we have started to use online learning. And I have practically used this online learning since 2009. And I've started to call on other people on using this. At the time it was something strange that online learning, how could you use online learning? But we have started to use it practically, yes, 2009.
Yes. What about the culture here in Egypt regarding the e-learning and the blended learning and so on and so forth? And do we have evidence-based research on this age groups that are safe to be using this electronic or technological advancements? Because as you know, sometimes in an early age, it is or children are not advised to stay long hours in front of the screens and so on and so forth.
Actually, there are many studies that have been conducted to investigate this area, and most of them say that early children can use this online learning as part of it, but it's not the whole task, because you need someone to supervise and guide you. So for starters, the face-to-face should be longer than this, and at the same time they have to use the e-book or even the traditional book, because they need to know and gain experience. But for adults or for preparatory stages or even university stages, they can use this online learning.
Yes.
But the culture has to be changed, because let me tell you about an experience at Cairo University. During COVID-19, we have started to introduce some courses online, revision classes for exam preparation. We presented 15 online sessions over 15 weeks. But when the study comes back, people, come to university again, as if this online learning is difficult for them. And when we try to investigate the reasons that allow them to come back, number one, infrastructure. They do not have this infrastructure. A lot of disconnection cases can occur. So infrastructure is...
Yes, but I believe that the Ministry of Telecommunications is exerting a lot of effort
and all these efforts should be appreciated, frankly speaking. But we can produce something else. Why don't we have a phone line for every university student, or even for preparatory or secondary?
And this has already, I believe, been implemented to the first secondary stage by the Ministry of Education and Technical Education.
Yes, and at the same time, the course itself could be presented on CD. So instead of wasting, I'm so sorry, my time and your time and infrastructure, or the line is not that strong or effective. So we can use many ways.
Yes. Also, what do you believe, Dr. Said, is the missing part in having, or the missing part of the picture in having a full transformation, and that we can be the blended learning can be fully accessible to every child and every student in Egypt?
As I said, let's go back to challenges. Yeah, we have many challenges. Number one, infrastructure. We need to have good infrastructure. Number two, what's the role of the civil society? So yeah, in this program, I'm calling on all civil society organizations. They have to have their role. At the same time, they should provide money. They should sponsor some programs, because you know that this program or this online learning needs a lot of money. So how could we provide this infrastructure? We have to call on the civil society organizations. They have to have a role in this.
Yes.
This number one. Number two, the culture itself. Teachers are not, I'm so sorry to say, not all of them. Most of them need to have this kind of training. So are they allowed to use platforms? Frankly, we are using many platforms, but we don't have a uniform platform. We can use many platforms. I don't like to mention some names.
Yes.
But we have. But this is done on an individual basis. So why don't we have this national initiative for online learning? And this initiative should be sponsored by all people. Even President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, I'm sure that he is ready to help. So each university should have its own platform, because Microsoft 365 or 360 will be for all universities. So can all universities access this website at the same time? Yeah, it's a question to be raised.
Yes. Also, Doctor, as you have mentioned that the start of the new academic year is just around the corner, how do you see the plan of the Ministry of Education and Technical Education, as well as the Ministry of Higher Education, their plan to return to the reopening of schools and universities, also in the midst of the COVID-19 and so on and so forth?
Actually, a lot of efforts have been done, and it's very clear. But you know that the time is limited for them, or they're short of time. But Cairo University, for example, has started to introduce a platform called the Smart CU, which is Cairo University. And again, this platform is under construction or under experimentation. So if all universities have started the same initiative or the same effort, this would be very useful at the same time.
Yes, also Dr. Said, as you know that this is a very broad and important topic, and we have a lot of questions to be asked, but do you believe that as soon as the crisis of the COVID-19 is over, do you believe that we will be back to the traditional learning techniques, or do you believe that they're outdated and we cannot adopt them anymore?
Yes, out of my own experience over the last 2 weeks, people prefer to go back to traditional learning. I'm so sorry to say. Because as I said, we introduced 15 online classes or sessions, and they come back to traditional. They like to have this teacher face-to-face. But why is that?
But they're not even welcoming the blend or the hybrid, which is a mix of both virtual as well as face-to-face.
They feel that face-to-face is safer. You could see the teacher, you could ask him questions. But
also this could be done online.
It could be done online. I have introduced many courses online, and mashallah, they were very effective. So again, it's the matter of the culture. We need to change this culture. We need to provide them with some demos. How to use this online learning.
Yes. And also, do you believe that having some public awareness campaigns about the importance...
Training, Mr. Karim. We need to have training. We have to produce some kind of programs that introduce the good sides of online learning. Again, over the last two months at Cairo University, we were presenting some courses, and people were sitting in Emirates or even in Upper Egypt. So they were very happy because they could save time, money, and effort at the same time. But again, it's the mentality or the culture itself.
Yes. Aside from the culture, sir, also, what are the main challenges that you believe is facing the educational sector in general in Egypt?
Currently, yes, class density. If I were Dr. Tari or Dr. Khalid, I need to subdivide the classes into other categories. Because at universities, for example, Cairo University or even some other universities, the class is huge. It could be 2,000 people. So how could you teach a whole class like this? So we need to have sections. And this will need a lot of money because you need to recruit a lot of teaching staff.
Yes, and also having the infrastructure ready
Infrastructure. But e-learning will help you do this. You can have just one class, which is face-to-face, and the other subclasses or the other groups could be done through online learning.
And also, speaking about higher education, Dr. Said, how do you see their plan to the reopening of universities and the plan for the start of the new academic
actually,
year?
Dr. Khalid has done many good things for preparation. A lot of meetings have been conducted. So we are preparing for this academic year. We have started to produce Plan B if COVID-19 reappears. What we do. So we are preparing now online classes, some videos, because we need to have Plan B. So we are ready for face-to-face interaction over 2 days, and the other classes will be done online. And at the same time, we were instructed to have Plan B. And Plan B, we are ready for this.
Yes, God forbid, and hopefully COVID-19 will be under control as the results of the excellent efforts exerted by the Ministry of Health and Population, and of course under the leadership of President Fattah Sisi. Any remarks or closing remarks that you'd like to add, Mr. Said?
No, I'm just calling on all civil society organizations to give a hand. So we need to have all people participate with us, because the university or even the country itself cannot all do all these things. You know that nowadays the country is going for national universities. This is good for a time, but at the same time we need to have other people to participate and raise money for this online learning.
Yes, and also for the efforts being exerted by the Ministry of Education and Technical Education, would you like to add something, sir?
I'd like to thank Dr. Tariq so much, because he's got a very good team and he's working hard. But back to TV channels, we need to have more channels, and we need to have this kind of coordination between all schools at the same time.
Yes, but what about, how do you see the online platforms that has been introduced by the Ministry of Education and Technical Education, and also there are some TV channels?
Yeah, the platforms are wonderful, and I have tried some of them. But still, can all students access all these platforms? Yeah, it's a question mark.
Yes.
Because whenever, they use this platform, they need to have the internet. In some areas, they do not have this internet access. So number one, we need to have internet access, and this can be done by using, the telephone that we said before.
Yes. Dr. Saad, Academic Coordinator of the Center for Language and Translation, Cairo University. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you, Mr. Karim, for this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the viewers, now we move on to a quick break, and then we'll be back to resume the breakfast show live on Nile TV International.